A demonstration of the Quickdraw Weaving program's main editor controls for cut, copy, paste, and delete, and so forth. I've started with a fairly large pattern, so it's easier to see what I'm copying and pasting. Let me go to a free tool here. Let me add it over here. I'll add kind of a unique little shape. When I hit copy, it's now in the copy buffer. And if I come over here, I can paste it. Control C would also copy it. Control V is the standard paste command. Select all I can then copy the entire pattern. Control A is also a copy. Once I have that sequence copied, I can also paste it in a selected area. You'll notice the marks for the end of the repeat patterns. I can paste symmetrically so that you can see that the mark on the bottom here notes the symmetric point. The mark on the top notes the end of the pattern repeat. So I can do that as far as I want to here. I also have multiple memory locations I can copy things to. So if I want to take this copy, this block of threads, and copy that into the memory suite A, and then I take this little block, for example. I can copy it into memory suite B. Those two are now independent with two different threads in the two different buffers. And I can then drag from there back into the copy buffer and paste it. One other thing I also have the ability to do, you'll notice this sequence is currently selected. When we hit the copy, paste that to text. I open a text window over here with Notepad. If I hit a paste, that was numeric sequence that I just had defined there, so I can do anything else I want to and import that to other software programs I may have on my machine. I can also take a sequence that was entered there from text, put that into the copy buffer, and if I paste that, that was just that 8-thread or 7-thread straight twill. So I can play back and forth that way. I can also copy things. Let me go back to this guy. If I copy that, I can in fact paste that into the weft or treadling sequence. Now you'll notice the original pattern was black warp and it pasted in as a white weft. I can actually have control over that. The exclamation point, when I'm going warp to warp or weft to weft, I can keep all the characteristics of the thread. When I'm going between the two, normally I'll copy the thread, but I don't want to copy colors and stuff because they tend to be different setups. So that gives me that functionality. Let me clear this stuff out of here. If I hit the delete key, that's gone. So now, if I paste what I had in the buffer, I've got that one little curve again. Say I wanted 12 copies of that. So that gives me 12. That multiplies them in the copy buffer. If I paste, I've now got 12 copies of that guy sitting there. So I can paste multiple repeats. And let me go back in. If I copy the initial ramp here, if I copy that, select all and clear it, and let's redraw another twill here. If I intersperse, it's now going to take the original ramp. It's going to take the original twill rising, intersperse it with the twill I had in the edit buffer, which is the falling shed. So that gives me the ability to intersperse threads between the sequence. That gives me the general capabilities for cut, copy, paste. Thank you. This will be an update to the Quickdraw Weaving program's ability to control what you paste. Now let me switch real briefly, give myself a little bit more room to play with. I'm going to ask for 12 shafts, 12 treadles, and multi-treadle, since that will set up the options. Get a little bit more tie-up just so it has something to do. Create the tie-up. Okay, now Under normal conditions, if I copy threads, it will copy the entire bank. And then if I ask to paste them, for example, it's going to paste exactly what it had. And if I paste into the weft, for example, it will paste that same sequence. Now you'll notice it's left them in as white threads. And the reason for that is when I look back over here, when I'm copying from warp to warp or weft to weft, it will control the thread color, spacing, and size so that I get what I expect. Otherwise, if I copied black down here, I just end up with a black pattern. So the fact that I had told it not to copy the colors and spacing, that's why I got white there if I change those. Now, the other thing that happens there is the clear weft. If I ask to clear weft, because I'm drawing multi-treadle, it would otherwise add the threads versus just erasing and starting over again. Now, the other thing that I've just added when I started playing with the draft blending is the enable to shift. So now, let me copy this same block of threads. Actually, let me copy that block of threads. And now I have a choice when I paste that block of threads, whether it puts them in, so wherever the bottom of my thread was, it fills them in with that offset. And I can copy out of that range and it will paste the result back in. Same thing on the treadling here. So I can take that block of threads and paste them there. And so that gives me the ability to move those blocks around. And that's about what I need to say here. Thank you. Bye. Okay, this will be a very brief update talking about the new capability in version 4.13. In particular, on the older versions, if I wanted to take that block of threads, copy it and repeat it some number of times, say I wanted to repeat it 15 times, I can hit it, copy, enter the repeats, and then paste and play with it that way. There's a byproduct of something else I'd done here that's relevant to this discussion. If I hit the annotation, I've selected a block of threads. If I simply do a right mouse click to clear that screen, say I want that 15 times, when I hit the times 15, if I add that comment box and then hit the expand, it's given me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 copies of that. So that's a kind of a shorthand way to do that same thing. And it's generally a little bit easier because I can just hit times 2, and rather than think it's already got 1, so I need to add 2 more copies, it's a quick way to do that same thing. Okay, this is an update for version 4.15. I've added a number of tools to facilitate polychrome summer and winter structures, and in this is the second of those tools. In this particular case, I've got multiple threading blocks that I now want to go through, and I'll explain. I'll do a separate video that shows the entire project to create this and use it. The normal intersperse function will take what's in a copy buffer, merge it with what's selected. This gets a little bit different. In this case, if I click the selection, select the first block I want, copy that into block A, select the second block, copy B, third block, copy C. Then if I drag from C to the intersperse button, it's now taken the first thread from block 1, the first thread from block B, the third thread from block C, and put those all in order so that it effectively shuffles those 3. You know, for example, I'd actually wanted to use the tabby blocks, copy that into A, B, copy it into B, and then I've got a tabby structure down here. If I had that, copy C, C to intersperse. Now it's actually added the tabbies for me, and it's repeated the tabby block that was only 2 in the initial pattern. So that is the update to the intersperse. Thank you. Okay, this will be an update for Quickdraw version 5.10 to the intersperse and remove functionality. Now the 2 functions we've already talked about deal with 2 threads. We'll work on alternate threads and add thread from the copy buffer to a thread from the warp or the weft, or it will remove every other thread. Now the complex intersperse and remove tool actually has much more capability than that, and I will access it through the little asterisk here. So when I click that, I've got a new function that comes up. This will allow me to select the order I want threads to be either added together or taken apart. Now normal it would come in and I would have a warp thread and then somebody from the copy thread. So when I was asking for the create the warp out of that, it would create those two threads. Now what I can do here is I can, for example, let me copy those two threads, and I'll copy those into A, and you'll notice when I copy, it's giving me a little graphic display here of at least the first 8 shafts or 8 treadles, so I can see what that threading sequence looks like. Say I want to combine that with this block. If I copy that into B, and then while I'm at it, I'm just going to go ahead and copy this into C so I can do some things with it in a moment. So I want to do a tabby thread, and then a thread from that block, and then another tabby thread, and say a block from C. And if I ask for that to produce the warp, it's now given me the tabby. There was the first block, tabby, second block. So I can see those repeating in there. Now I can also do other more complicated things. For example, that was one tabby and then a single thread from there. If I ask for B, okay, BB, and then do another tabby, and then say C and add another C, and I add that, now I can see I've actually got a pair in this block, a pair of threads in that block, and I can create whatever structure I want to in the process of doing that. So if I'd ask for A and then we delete that C, that would give me a tabby or 4 threads of what was in block A, 4 threads in B. Yeah, for example, I want to do the same thing with the others. Unfortunately, you do have to drag them each one. That may get more powerful in time, but there's got to be more demand for it than this. So when I ask for that warp, it's now got 4 threads, the upper sequence. You'll notice I can actually see the graph, the 2 cycles there. This one's not going to show because those guys are in shafts 9 through 12, and this will only show the first 8 threads since it's a lot of information in a small buffer. These also give me the ability of moving threads from A to B. I can do the same thing in weft and warp. If I want to take that and put that into the weft, it would actually copy that information into the A and C memories, and I can put those back together in another sequence. So that gives me the intersperse and remove, the complex intersperse and remove tool. Thank you.